All right, in Rochester, Indiana. Chris, speak your mind.
Hi.
Hello, Chris.
How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for holding.
Okay. The other night, you had a lady call in talking about public schools and private schools.
Yes.
Okay. My question is, how can you justify saying that all public schools in our nation aren't any good?
That's not difficult to do.
Okay, you're saying all public schools.
Right. All public schools are bad.
Okay. Now, you asked the lady on the phone the other night how much studying she did on that.
Right.
Okay, as far as private schools?
Right, because she was saying private schools were bad.
Okay, not all private schools are bad, and not all private schools are good.
Right.
Same token, not all public schools are bad.
False. Let me tell you the difference. I criticized her because she said in Indiana, Indiana's a pretty big state, in the whole state of Indiana, there was only one good private school.
Oh, no.
Christian Center. Right, that was a foolish statement. And I challenged her on it, and she admitted she hasn't investigated all the private schools. So it was a silly statement to make. But when I say that all public schools are bad, I have that on record. It is true because all public schools have a godless curriculum. A godless curriculum. And if you try to raise a nation, the children of a nation, on a godless curriculum, you will raise godless children. And they will no longer respect themselves, they won't respect their parents, the government, their teachers, and they will begin to self-destruct. And that's what we see happening. We have a godless education system, and we're raising godless children.
Okay, in that manner, I agree with you.
All right, thank you.
In the manner of, their curriculum, sorry.
That's all right.
I beg to differ. I feel that, there are some schools, like our local school had 4 kids on the front of our newspaper who took the SAT test and rated in the top 1 percentile in our nation.
That is so irrelevant, it's unbelievable.
Is it?
Yes. Let's say you have a godless, let's say we could snap our fingers and overnight all the SAT scores across America will increase by 20%. Everyone is doing what today is in the top 95, 95th percentile. Everybody. All the students in the public schools. But they're the same kids. They still have the disrespect for their teachers. Not all the kids, but it's become the theme. The theme of the public school environment is disrespect, immorality, selfishness, greediness. So academia is becoming irrelevant because we're losing our kids. Thank you. You know, a question I could pose to Chris from Rochester, who I just spoke with, about some public schools, the kids are doing really well academically. Here and there, they do very well, here and there. But what if you gain the whole world but lose your soul? What is the good of having children who excel in an academic program that outlaws God? I mean, God is against the law in public school. What does that teach kids? Condoms are not against the law in public school, right? Homos are okay, but Jesus is not. So there's no denying, only a fool can deny that has an incredible, incalculable, destructive influence on children. Even the Christian kids in the public school. We send our Christian kids to the public school, we want them to be missionaries. We send a little 6-year-old into the jaws of Satan himself. A 6-year-old. Imagine Jesus when he was a baby, or he's grown up. He's 6 years old, and Joseph and Mary are going to send him to the idol's temple to be taught for the next 13 years. Imagine that. Daniel, could you imagine that? Can't even conceive of it. But that's what we have. We send our kids like they're little missionaries. And what happens to the vast majority of children from good Christian homes? They go through 13 years of destructive, subtle, many times, but destructive influence. And then we're surprised when they do drugs, or they have abortions, or they commit suicide, or they become homos, or they reject God. They rebel against their parents in a big way. And we're surprised, but that's what we gave them for 13 years. We spoon-fed them rebellion and wickedness. Spoon-fed them. The worst thing in the world is to say, oh, but our public school is a really good one. We have 3 Christian teachers there. You know, Christian teachers in the public school is the excuse that how many millions of families have used to keep their kids there, and the kids have been hurt terribly. The Christian teachers are the tool of deception because parents are falsely convinced that this is a pretty good place. That's like saying, well, it was a Christian whorehouse. Oh, she was a Christian prostitute. Now, of course, some Christians are in the public schools, but if any way their presence is drawing in or keeping children in that environment, then their presence is destructive. All right, let's go to Commerce City, Colorado. Greg, speak your mind.